Here's what happens when a fuel pump replacement goes wrong. You're looking at $1,400 at the shop. That's $800 for the original repair plus $600 in emergency labor premiums, plus a potential house fire. Most DIYers fail because they underestimate three critical dangers. First, you're working with a highly flammable system where gasoline vapors can ignite from a single spark, even static electricity. Second, modern vehicles with complex high-pressure direct injection systems require specialized tools that cost more than paying a professional. Third, dropping a 60-pound fuel tank without proper support has crushed fingers, damaged fuel lines, and in one case I know personally sent a guy to the ER with a back injury. The moment most people get this wrong is assuming their garage is safe because they don't smell gas. Gasoline vapors are heavier than air and pool in low spots. Without a well-ventilated area and proper fire extinguisher, you're gambling with your life. I've seen 3 garage fires from DIY fuel pump jobs. 2 totaled the cars, 1 took half the garage. The tools alone for a proper job run $300 to $500 if you don't own them. Most people discover this after they've already dropped the tank and can't get it back up safely. That's when they call the shop for an emergency rescue, paying premium rates for what should have been a planned repair. If you're not completely certain about tank access, ventilation, and tool requirements, this is where you stop and call a professional. You should identify your vehicle's fuel pump type before starting this job, as using the wrong repair approach could damage your fuel system or engine. Electric pumps live inside the gas tank and require either interior access panels or complete tank removal. Mechanical pumps bolt directly to the engine block and take 30 minutes to replace. Here's how to tell. Turn your key to the on position without starting. If you hear a brief whirring sound from the rear of the vehicle, you have an electric pump. No sound means mechanical. But here's the critical warning. If your vehicle has direct injection, which includes most cars 2010 and newer, this is not a DIY job. Direct injection systems operate at 3,000 psi, 20 times higher than standard fuel injection. If these high-pressure lines fail during DIY repair, you're looking at a fuel spray that can blind you and ignite instantly. These require specialized high-pressure tools and diagnostic equipment that costs $15,000. The fuel lines themselves require specific torque specifications to prevent catastrophic failure. As the research shows, mechanical pumps tend to fail entirely. They either work or they don't. If you have power loss or hesitation, but the engine still runs, your mechanical pump is fine, and something else is causing your problems. Electric pumps fail gradually, causing symptoms like hard starting, stalling, or loss of power under acceleration. Before you touch anything, verify your pump type and check if your vehicle has direct injection by looking up the engine code. The tool requirements for this job may surprise you. Required tools include a complete socket set, fuel line disconnect tools, floor jack with jack stands, fuel pressure gauge, spanner wrench for the locking ring, and a Class B fire extinguisher. The fuel line disconnect tools alone cost $40 to $60 for a complete set. A proper spanner wrench runs $30 to $50, though you can substitute Harbor Freight oil filter pliers for $12 or make one from PVC pipe. Here are the real numbers. Aftermarket pumps cost $50 to $400, OEM pumps run $300 to $900. Shop replacement costs range from $806 to $1,400. That looks like a $600 savings until you factor in tools. If you don't own a floor jack, jack stands, socket set, and specialty fuel tools, you're looking at $300 to $500 in tool costs. This wipes out most of your savings on the first job. The fuel pressure gauge is critical. Cheap gauges that are off by just 3% can mask a fuel pump problem, leading you to replace a good pump. Professional-grade gauges cost $100 to $150. Many people discover this tool tax after they've started the job and realize they can't finish it safely. If this happens to you, stop immediately and rent the missing tools from AutoZone or O'Reilly's. Most locations rent fuel line tools for $12 per day, rather than buying them for $60. Factor in 4 hours of your time versus 2 hours of shop time, and the value proposition gets thin unless you plan to use these tools again. This decision determines whether your repair takes 2 hours or 8 hours and whether you need help. Check for an interior access panel first. Remove your rear seat cushion or trunk liner and look for a plastic cover with screws. If you find one, you've won the lottery. Clean around the panel thoroughly before removal, because any dirt that falls into the tank will contaminate your fuel system. If there's no access panel, you're dropping the tank, which changes everything. A typical fuel tank weighs 60 to 80 pounds empty, plus whatever fuel remains. You must safely supporting this weight while disconnecting vapor hoses, electrical connectors, and fuel lines in a specific sequence. The moment most people get this wrong is trying to drop a full tank. In many cases, you can siphon gasoline into approved containers using a hand-operated transfer pump, though you should never use your mouth or an electric pump near gasoline vapors. Support the tank with a floor jack and wood block. Never trust a hydraulic jack alone. This step has zero margin for error. If the tank falls, you cannot catch it or stop it without serious injury. Remove tank strap bolts gradually, lowering the tank at an angle while disconnecting lines. The critical mistake is rushing this step. A falling tank can crush your hands, rupture fuel lines, or damage the vehicle's underbody. If you're working alone and the tank starts to fall, let it go and get out of the way. Your safety is worth more than avoiding a dented tank. Many DIYers get the tank down but can't get it back up properly, leading to expensive shop calls. A $5 gasket can cost you a $500 comeback if it doesn't seal right, and here's exactly how this fails. The top of tank gasket often must create a proper seal to help prevent fuel vapors from entering your cabin and to maintain evaporative emission system pressure in many vehicles. Universal gaskets look identical to OEM gaskets but use different rubber compounds that swell or shrink with ethanol fuel. The result is evap check engine codes and dangerous fuel smells inside vehicle cabin that can overcome passengers. Here's the installation mistake that kills gaskets. Using petroleum-based grease as a lubricant. Petroleum products cause rubber gaskets to swell and distort. Only use fresh gasoline or the manufacturer's specified lubricant, usually a light film of gasoline or special O-ring grease. The gasket must sit perfectly flat without pinching or twisting. When installing the locking ring, hand tighten first, then use your spanner wrench to tap it clockwise until fully seated. Over-tightening crushes the gasket, under-tightening allows leaks. After installation, check for any fuel odor inside the vehicle cabin, as a strong smell may indicate a leak or improper installation. If you smell gas, the gasket has failed and you must remove the pump assembly and start over. This is why OEM gaskets cost more. They're engineered for your specific fuel system and ethanol compatibility. Contaminated fuel is the leading cause of premature in-tank fuel pump failure, while corroded vehicle side wiring connectors can cause low voltage leading to apparent early pump failure. Even a high-quality pump will fail early if it's not getting proper voltage. Fuel pumps require full battery voltage to operate efficiently. Even a half-volt drop makes the pump work harder, generates excess heat, and shortens its life dramatically. Here's what to check. The connector pins should be bright and shiny, not green, black, or white with corrosion. The plastic housing should be intact without melting or cracking. Test voltage at the connector with a multimeter. You should see 12 to 13 volts with the key on. Voltages significantly below normal charging levels like 12, 14 volts may indicate wiring issues that can reduce fuel pump performance. The connector replacement isn't optional if you see corrosion. It's insurance against a comeback. New pigtail connectors cost $15 to $30 and include proper crimp connectors and heat shrink tubing. Butt connectors or electrical tape can often cause failures in fuel pump wiring due to constant vibration and heat in many vehicles. Solder and heat shrink are acceptable if done properly. The moment most people get this wrong is seeing minor corrosion and thinking it will be fine. Minor corrosion becomes major voltage drop, and voltage drop equals dead fuel pump in 6 months instead of 6 years. For small engines and older marine pumps, rebuilding can make sense, but it's a precision assembly nightmare. As one experienced mechanic put it, "I knew there was a reason I never rebuild fuel pumps. I pizzed away $21 for an OEM repair kit. I struggled with it for an hour due to the many springs and layers. Improper orientation of components can make it challenging and lead to issues if you're inexperienced." Universal rebuild kits include extra parts you don't need, adding to the confusion. Each pump has multiple layers, springs, and check valves that look identical but go in specific positions. The factory service manual is often required. Guessing can waste your time and money, depending on the vehicle. Here are the economics. An OEM rebuild kit costs $21, an aftermarket kit costs $18, but a complete aftermarket pump costs $32 shipped. For the $11 difference, you get a professionally assembled unit with a warranty instead of gambling with tiny springs and identical-looking components. The rebuild only makes sense if you have the factory manual, good lighting, and patience for detailed assembly work. Most people discover after an hour of frustration that they should have just bought the complete replacement pump. Here's your honest go/no-go decision matrix. Go if you have interior tank access, own the required tools, have a well-ventilated workspace, and have successfully completed fuel system work before, not just feel confident about it. Your vehicle does not have direct injection, and you're prepared to spend 4 to 6 hours on the job. No go if you need to drop the tank and you're working alone, your vehicle has direct injection, you don't own proper jacks and safety equipment, or you're working in a closed garage. The research is clear. For most vehicle owners, paying up to $500 in labor provides much better value than attempting a complex and potentially dangerous DIY repair. The total DIY cost, including tools, often exceeds shop labor costs for first-time repairs. Before attempting fuel pump replacement, you should verify the fuel pump type for your vehicle, understand access requirements, and ensure adequate ventilation and appropriate safety equipment are available. If any of these fail, stop and call a professional. The risk-reward equation only favors DIY if you have the right vehicle access, proper tools, and safe workspace. Don't let pride override safety. Gasoline fires move faster than you can run.